I'm not too late for Halloween, am I? I know. I'm late. I'm late for Halloween, but we're still going to talk about spooky stuff. Hey, you want to talk about spooky video games? Look, I know that Halloween was last week, but I don't think I'd be doing my due diligence as a content creator if I didn't come out with a video a week late. So here we go. Let's talk about some scary moments in non scary games. Don't forget to let me know what your favorite scary moment in a non scary game is down below. Love hearing from you. Let's go ahead and get started. At first glance, Lavender Town is just another stop on your Pokemon journey in Red and Blue. But from the moment players hear its eerie, almost unsettling music, they realize something is different about this place. Unlike other towns with cheerful tunes and friendly NPCs, Lavender Town feels strangely cold and haunted. The chiptune melody is in a minor key, filled with dissonance that adds an unsettling vibe, even though it's just a simple 8-bit sound. It's easy to forget that this is a kid's game when you're exploring a place filled with ghost stories and mysterious lore. At the heart of Lavender Town is the Pokemon Tower, essentially a graveyard where trainers mourn their deceased Pokemon. This is where players encounter ghostly figures, some of which can't even be battled until they acquire the Sylph Scope. The in-game lore even references a tragic event involving a ghost Marowak, the spirit of a mother trying to protect her young. And let's not forget the legendary tales of Lavender Town Syndrome, a rumor suggesting the town's music caused players distress in real life. Although it's just a myth, it adds an extra layer of creepiness to this part of Pokemon history, making Lavender Town a place that many players will not forget. Pokemon was one of those games that was really bright and colorful and fun and carefree, and you were just having fun catching Pokemon and making new friends and stuff. But there was one place, Lavender Town, that was so creepy and weird, and it just was so off kilter compared to the rest of the game, with how creepy and weird it was, and just how off putting the music is in a minor key. You're going to like a graveyard, cemetery type tower, there's ghosts. There's all kinds of terrifying things that are happening, and it's just so off-putting for a children's game, but it was a lot of fun to see that side of what was genuinely just a kind of carefree, fun game. So I really enjoyed that level, but it was super, super scary compared to the rest of the game. And I remember that rumor about the game music like making people sick and kind of freak out and weird. Luckily that wasn't true, thank goodness. Or was it? The moon in Majora's Mask is one of gaming's most memorable symbols of dread. Its enormous, twisted face stares down at you, growing closer each day, constantly reminding players of the limited time they have before it crashes down on the world of Termina. For a Zelda game, which typically features vibrant worlds and heroic themes, this menacing moon is a complete tonal shift. It's a visual embodiment of doom, a reminder of the helplessness that players feel as they watch the end of the world slowly approach. The moon adds a unique sense of urgency and fear. Each time you reset the 3-day cycle, you know it's still up there, waiting to come crashing down. The townspeople reflect this impending doom as well, with NPCs gradually becoming more panicked as the days pass. Majora's Mask doesn't let players forget the constant threat, which makes it as much a psychological experience as it is an adventure. The concept of impending doom in a typically adventurous series like Zelda is unsettling, making this game feel like a dark, surreal detour in the Zelda universe. The moon in Majora's Mask was one of those that kept me from beating the game when I was a kid. It was so terrifying to me that I just couldn't bring myself to beat the game. Even when it was like the third day, early in the third day, I always wanted to go back. The moon was too close. I didn't like it. So I would always just go back to the first day. And inevitably, if you want to do most of the stuff in the game, you have to stay late into the third day. Looking back at it now, it's kind of silly looking. I have a copy of Majora's Mask over there on my shelf, and I play it on time to time, and I'm like, why did this scare me? But in a normal, like, Zelda game, it's pretty light and pretty fun and just not really that scary. There are moments of it. But I think that Majora's Mask is just in a league of its own when it comes to the Zelda franchise of just being so weird and terrifying and creepy. And we won't even get into Majora itself and how weird that is.
I'm coming to help! Don't starve without me!
In Halo Combat Evolved, players are caught completely off guard by the sudden introduction of the Flood. Up until this point, the game has you fighting against the Covenant, an enemy that has motives, intelligence, and strategy. But then you encounter the Flood, a horrifying alien parasite that reanimates dead soldiers, creating zombie-like enemies that come at you in relentless waves. The first encounter with the Flood happens in a series of dark, claustrophobic corridors where you're forced to face infected soldiers as you desperately try to escape the horror unfolding around you. The Flood fundamentally changes Halo, turning it from a tactical space shooter to something that feels closer to survival horror. The game designers leaned into this by filling levels with eerie ambient sounds and dimly lit rooms that make it hard to tell where the next attack will come from. As the Flood swarm, there's an overwhelming sense of panic and dread, with limited ammo and enemies that just keep coming. The Flood wasn't just an unexpected twist, it was a masterstroke of horror design that made Halo unforgettable for fans, showing how quickly the tone of a game can shift. The Flood in Halo is one of the most terrifying video games experiences that I've ever had. I remember I had an Xbox, I was probably 12 or so when Halo came out. And I remember it was just the perfect situation where I had turned all the lights off, my parents were asleep for the night. I was like, I'm going to play some Halo. So I start playing Halo and I get to the part where the Flood comes out, and I kid you not, I ran and cut off the Xbox and didn't play Halo for like a week because of how terrifying and unexpected the Flood was. It was just so scary, so creepy, so weird, and I just hated it so much. And it sticks with me to this day as being one of those things where you just didn't see it coming. It's so perfectly done, but it's part of a just not scary game. It's a space shooter, tactical strategy shooter. And then next thing you know, you're facing these pussy white creatures and these reanimated soldiers. It's just, oh God, it's the worst. I hate it. In Super Mario 64, Big Boo's Haunt takes players to a very different kind of Mario level, one filled with ghosts, haunted mansions, and music that sounds like it belongs in a horror movie. While Mario games are usually bright and colorful, this level felt creepy and unsettling, especially for players encountering it for the first time. The Haunted Mansion theme, with its floating furniture, moving walls, and Big Boos, was a far cry from the usual cheerful Mushroom Kingdom. Even though it's a simple haunted house level, it became a memorable experience that took the series into a spooky territory. Then there's Tiny Huge Island and the Big Fish, or Bubba. In this level, Mario alternates between large and small versions of the same area, which sounds fun until you're shrunk down and find yourself face to face with Bubba, a massive fish who can gobble Mario up in one bite. The surprise element, that something so innocuous can become lethal, is terrifying, especially because Bubba attacks with little warning, circling menacingly before taking a sudden lunge. It's a reminder that even in Mario's whimsical world, danger can lurk in unexpected places. Alright, we'll tackle Big Boo's Haunt first because that's not the scariest part of this. It was the fish that scared me the most. I mean, if you look at any list that has, scary moments in non-scary games, the Big Boo's Haunt with like the piano and the boos coming through, those things are terrifying, but they're nothing compared to the fish, which has, at 37 years old, still in the back of my mind, I have a fear of open water in the sense that I'm always scared a giant fish is going to come eat me. I know it's crazy and I'm probably sharing too much, but it's the truth. There will always be that thing in the back of my mind that Bubba is just in the water waiting for me, and it terrifies me to this day. Alright everybody, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the love that these videos have been getting. I like making them. There will be plenty more in the future. So thank you for watching. Thank you to the members of the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Bye-bye.